Welcome. I'm Daniel Posney, and this is called Shifting Perspectives. If you haven't been here before, this is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes with a certain topic, and this one is about when you lose that connection. And that could be connection with God, it could be a connection with source or spirit or your beloved or your psychic abilities, any of that kind of thing. But first, I want to share with you what's coming up in September and October. October is a 4-day men's retreat, and I believe that's the 12th to the 15th. That can be found at sedonamensretreats.com. And then in September, we've got a couple things going on. We've got a 1-day spiritual retreat here at our house at the Hummingbird House, which I'm at now. And then 2 days after that is a relationship retreat. You could do 1 day, you could do the 2 days, you could do the whole thing, the whole 3 days. It's all up to you. You can find out more about that on our the hummingbirdhouse.org website, and it's pretty reasonably priced. All kinds of things going on with in the creek and sweat lodge and medicine wheel and teaching and meditating and sharing and all kinds of good stuff. So hope you'll join us for that. And then Valerie and I just inked in our 5-day relationship retreat on Oahu. And this is our first time doing this on the state of Hawaii. And we've done relationship workshops before, but together doing a 5-day retreat is going to be awesome. We're really excited about all the different things that we're going to be able to provide with couples there. And then plus they've got all kinds of great activities planned for all the couples, like tours and activities and things. So look for that. We haven't got a flyer for that one yet, so that one's still coming. So back to the topic. When I joined the Navy in 1982, wow, that 41 years ago. When I joined the Navy, I took a plane from Boston, where I signed up, to San Diego, where my boot camp was back in the days when San Diego had a boot camp. And I remember getting off the bus and then them yelling at us and telling us what a piece of crap we are. And every morning they'd wake us up at 4 o'clock to do what they call swim the decks. And they call the floor the deck, so you could get used to ship terms and stuff. So you swim the deck. What they do is you're half asleep and everybody lines up on one end of the room. And because these decks were I don't know if they were linoleum or tile or something, a very glossy surface. It built up what they call ghost turds, which is just balls of dust and little pieces of fabric from the wool blankets, and all that stuff kind of gets shedded, and then you got to swoop that stuff up. So what do? They get everyone on the deck and they swim the deck. So what you do is you swim the deck and you kind of corral up all these dust bunnies or those ghost turds, I think what they come. Anyway, they would build up into these piles and you just keep on scooping them up. But if you try to scoop them up too fast, they'd all just kind of go away from you from just the wind from your hands. So you had to be really careful to use just the subtle air from your hands, just to kind of push the air, because it just took a little bit to get them to move. So use that just a little bit, and then you scoop them together, and then you kind of did more of that. And I remember thinking how that little bit would just kind of push everything away if I did it too hard. And that's the sort of the analogy that I have with what I want to talk about today. It's if you think about things as energy and very subtle energies, like qigong. Here's another example. When you do qigong, you're kind of patting your body and you're doing things with the energy field in your body. And when you want to release energy, you really do one of these things. But if you want to collect energy, you kind of just do a slow buildup of the energy and you kind of scoop it to you. And the idea is that if you scoop it like this, it's all just going to fly away. So it's very subtle gentle energy. So you just kind of hold it together and just very gentle. Like here's another example. I got a lot of them today. It's the energy ball. So what you do is you slap your hands and you rub your hands really, really fast, really, really hard, and it starts to heat up. And then you pull it apart like this, and then you hold it about, a basketball, volleyball size away from each other, and you just very, very barely push together your hands like this. And if you do it very slightly, you'll be able to feel a pressure, like it really feels like there's a ball there. And I'm trying to push together and I'm having a hard time. Of course, I can do this, of course. But if I'm working with the energy, I want to be very easy with it and subtle with it. Like if I wanted to turn it, I'd have to keep it right at the shape that holds it all together. So if I were to move my hand, a different way, then I would lose the energy. So if you think of it like that, it's kind of what I'm talking about. And the same thing goes with if we again think of ourselves as energy, those things that we want to stay connected with that are also energy, we need to be very present and very here right now. And I talked to quite a few people that say, man, I used to have these psychic abilities. I used to have it all connected and all together. And then, stuff happened in my life and I don't have those abilities anymore. Or why is it that I don't feel connected with God anymore? Or, our relationship, we're not connected. And if you go back to energy, it's not something connected with God or what you perceive as God, what your idea of God is, if it's an energy or a being or whatever. If you're busy living out in the world and everything's so fast and you go, 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 how are you supposed to keep any energetic connection together? So if that's your relationship with your beloved or with God or with source or with spirit or your psychic abilities, if you haven't given yourself some real kind of takedown time to really let things settle down and let those connections reestablish themselves, it's really hard to keep all that stuff going, because when we're in our mind, is a very anxious state. So when we're in the anxious state, that's when we can't hold connections. It's just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it just doesn't hold. But if we calm ourselves and we're a little bit slower in our actions, then things can automatically, naturally be connected with us and be attracted to us. And I need to work on this too. I'm putting together my cereal and putting things together, and I'm, kind of rushing, or like when I'm working on the sprinkler system at the house, I'm going from one end of the house to the other house and the other end of the house and working on the sprinklers and turning on the sprinklers, and I'm walking back and forth, and I'm kind of had this epiphany: just slow down. It's not about getting it fixed right away. It's going to get fixed. So if I just slow down, I'll probably have a better time at it, and I'll probably give myself some more space so that I can get an epiphany about what the problem is. Like when I'm working on the truck, same kind of thing. I'm trying to fix something. I'm trying this and trying that and undoing things. But if I slow down, I'll probably make less mistakes, for one thing, and I'll probably get an epiphany that can't come to me if I'm go, go, go. So yeah, same thing with the psychic abilities. The psychic abilities and like vortex energy. If you're trying to feel vortex energy, man, you cannot feel that stuff if you're in your head and you're like, I've had people I'm in the car with them and they're blasting the rap in their car, and maybe they got a mocha in their hand, they're listening to stereo loud, and they're driving to the place, and they're driving is kind of erratic, and I'm taking them on a vortex tour. Good luck. So in order to feel these things, again, back to psychic abilities and the feeling of God and consciousness and love and all those are all subtle energies. So we need to kind of give ourselves some space to feel those things. So how we do that is breathing. Breathing is a really big way to just take ourselves into that space so we can start to feel, start to be aware of some things. If I'm breathing really fast and I'm talking really fast, it's hard for me for my body to get into its feeling state. And one of the things that I work with people on is getting into the feeling of safety in that state, because when trauma happens to us, we go into anxiety, we go into an anxious state, and that's a on everything, and very overactive on thinking about things and doing things, and it's meant as like a protective mechanism. So there needs to have some healing or integration or something happen so that we can come out of that anxiety mode and into a feeling mode. But a lot of times that person needs to feel like it's safe to do so. So you can imagine, and sorry for using this analogy, think of as a wild animal in a cage that's been in the cage for maybe all their life, and you're saying, "Oh, the door's open, come on out." It there needs to be some little steps involved for someone to, or some animal to be able to feel comfortable out of the cage. They'll eventually, hopefully, come out into a feeling of safety and playfulness. But it might take a little bit. So for us, the same kind of thing happens where if we've had some trauma in our life, and maybe we had, let's see, here's a scenario. Maybe we had some sexual abuse as a child. And as a child, we had some psychic abilities really early on, but then we had sexual abuse, which shut that down. And then we went on to our life and we think that we've healed a lot of it. And maybe it starts to come back a little bit. And then someone presses the button of the sexual abuse or whatever the trauma was, and boom, it goes right back to shutting it down. So stuff like that can happen. So I guess in summary, if you're wondering why I had these abilities and I don't have them anymore, it could be that there needs to be some slowdown in your life. But it also could be that your time with those abilities is done, and to feel what it feels like to not have those anymore and get on with your life. So that could be another thing. Um, Another part of slowing down driving, don't be such a rush to get everywhere, to do everything. Slow down in your talking, listening more, taking more breaths to maybe think about or feel like what's the next thing that you want to say. Sex, slow down in your sex, man. That is always a good thing. Slow down in your sex so that you can actually feel not just yourself but the other person. Feel the subtle energies between you, and I guarantee that your experience with that will be so heightened. That's what Tantra sex is really a lot about. It's about the communication and taking things to a higher level through the slowing down and the exploring. So there's so many benefits to it. And we really, we need to be kind of diligent in this fast-paced world of always liking and not liking and going and doing and all this. So if you're wondering why your connections, your sacred connections with these different entities have kind of fallen away, just look at your life and see maybe how you could slow down and breathe and feel more. So it's all about feeling those connections. So that's about it. I think that's all I need to share about that. Thank you. I love you. Bless you. Have a beautiful day. This view that you see out here. This is the west view, and behind me, I don't know if you can see all the way back there, but behind me is where I spent 3 days in the cave, or Kurt Palestani took me out there for 3 days with just water. And this is kind of our valley back here. Where am I? Over here. And over here is the Oak Creek that kind of wraps around. I'm doing this right. Wraps around all the way, and then it comes right in front of our house right here. So right here are the steps that go down to the creek. And it's beautiful. I hope you make your way here. Thank you. Bless you. I love you. Have a great day.